All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. I got a special guest with me. I got a gentleman, a scholar, a brother over 30 years, and we're going to delve into, one of the most important aspects of life, which is time. So I would start the podcast by saying time doesn't just reveal priorities, right? It defines professionalism. So welcome back to the Professional Etiquette and Style Podcast, where we break down unwritten rules that separate good from great in the professional world. Today's episode is centered around one of the most quoted, but yet most misunderstood principles from the book, Professional Etiquette, Unwritten Rules Every Professional Should Know. And that quote is, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. But I go further and say, if you're late, you're fired. Now, this isn't about fear. It's about respect. Respect for the opportunity, respect for others' time, and respect for the standard you set before you even ever open your mouth. So to help us unpack what time really says about you, I'm joined by someone who lives this principle, not just talks about it. My brother, Mr. Marlon Nichols, is a leader, he's a professional, and someone who understands that punctuality isn't just a habit, it's a mindset. And today we're going to talk about how time impacts credibility, trust, leadership, and most importantly, first impressions. So why showing up early is one of the simplest ways to separate yourself in any room. My brother Marlon, welcome to the Professional Etiquette and Style Podcast. And like I said, I'm honored. I'm honored for you to be here. I appreciate you doing this. And, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Bro, the privilege is mine. I keep telling you this. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Love what you're doing. Love the message and the content that you're putting out in the world, and just really privileged to play a small role in your journey here.
Thank you.
But where do you want me to start?
Yeah, start from. Tell us about yourself. I know you're founder, one of the founding members of Mac Venture Capital. You're out on the West Coast. From out here on the East Coast, even though you're born and raised over here, but you're out there now. A little bit about yourself, and we go back over 30 years. Meeting each other at Mount St. Michael. 9-5 for the 9-5. And been brothers ever since in the brotherhood that we've built with all of our other brothers from Mount St. Michael.
No, 100%. As you mentioned, one of the co-founders and managing partner at Mac Venture Capital. We're a seed stage venture capital firm. I'm based out in Los Angeles, as is most of our team. And we have one of my partners is in the split time between the Bay Area and Washington D.C., where he was a former mayor. My career, I went to obviously Mount St. Michael Academy for high school, and then went to Northeastern for undergrad degree. And out of Northeastern, I started my professional career first in software. I led global implementations for a enterprise software company that was at the seed stage. I was like the 10th or 11th employee. Helped grow that thing into the UK and Europe before it saw an acquisition, and then moved back to New York, actually, from London, and lived in Harlem for a while, and got into consulting, so management and strategy consulting for a while before just deciding that operating, there's some aspects of that I really enjoyed. Consulting, there's some aspects of that I really enjoyed, and then vice versa. And so I wanted to find something that was in the middle that gave me the things that I really enjoyed about both of those professions and eliminated most of the things that I didn't like about them. And so for me, that was venture capital. So I went back to business school at Cornell to learn about the business of venture, and actually became the CEO of the school's venture fund for a year and a half, the two that I was there. Ultimately graduated and joined Intel Capital. This was in 2011. And at that time, Intel Capital was probably one of the largest and most active venture firms in the world. And so that's where I learned how to do the business of venture before leaving and starting my own firm.
Okay. So well accomplished, well rounded, well traveled. Definitely. Congratulations to you, man, and all the success you had, and which you, of course, wish you future success as always.
Thank you.
So, as you know, as we talked about time. So time being, I believe, one of the most valuable things we have because it's the one thing we can never get back. So as I go on these speaking engagements and I speak to the kids that I mentor or that I speak to, I always tell them that's the one thing you can't get back. So don't waste it. Especially don't waste your time and don't waste mine. But a question that comes to mind, and from the questions that I wrote, from timing and opportunity, right? So you've built a career spotting what's next, in people, ideas, and industries. So when you hear that phrase, if you're early on time, if you're on time, you're late, and if you're late, you're fired. How does that mindset show up in your world as an investor?
Yeah. I've seen we're technology investors, and I've seen some amazing technology, come to life through, the channel of a company. And I've seen that technology in that company and those companies fail because the timing wasn't right.
Okay.
Right. Like, so when I think about that question in the context of venture investing, it's, are the elements that surround the opportunity in place for it to be successful?
Okay.
Right. One example of this is, AR and VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, right? Like back in 2012, there were loads of companies, 2012, 2013, 14, loads of companies trying to build AR products, similar to what we're now seeing as Meta Glass, right?
Yes.
And those are selling pretty good right now, right? But back then, the things that you needed for a consumer to take advantage of that just weren't there.
Okay.
So the technology and the release of that technology was just too early. And so because you didn't have the things that were necessary to see it succeed, they failed, right? And so a big part of my job, you can never time markets, but what you can look at is what's happening. How are humans behaving? What are the things that they're doing? What are the things that they're interested in? What are the available technological capabilities? What does policy look like? Government policy and laws look like, right? Like you can look across all these different things. What's popular right now? And you have to make the determination: is this piece of technology ready for prime time, or am I too early? And then there's always the am I too late?
Okay. Wow. All right. My man. All right. So presence before pitch. All right. Presence before pitch. So you sat across from hundreds of founders, beyond the slides and stats. What's one thing about a person's presence that tells you that they're ready?
I'm going to throw a question back at you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most important thing needed to build a world-class company?
The most important thing needed to build a world-class company. Integrity.
You need that.
Okay.
But integrity is a value.
Correct. So
right.
I would say capital, but
you need capital too.
True.
But
okay.
Before all of that, you need people.
Oh, okay. I got you. True indeed.
Right?
Yeah, you need people. Okay.
You need people, right?
Yes.
And you need talented people, right?
True.
So
yes.
if you think of the best companies in the world, they're led and they're operated by the most talented people among us.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And so when I'm sitting across from a founder, I'm wondering, are you an attractor? Okay. Do you attract talent? Because there is not one amazing company in this world that was built by one person or, a 3-person co-founding team. They got to recruit. They've got to recruit people smarter than them in various aspects, people with different vision, different perspectives, etc. And then you build a company. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's composed of people. Can you attract that talent? Are you someone that people want to be around? Are you someone that people want to be led by? Are you someone that people want to work with?
Okay. And you would say, so you would get that or gather that by an interview, a couple conversations to kind of see what type of person they are? Or do you go to other people, almost like a reference type of system where
it's both, but
okay.
It's both, but you can feel it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
You can feel when someone is compelling.
That is true. That is true.
You know?
Yep.
And in early days, like, you know, an attractor is rarely coming into a venture capitalist office to pitch by him or herself.
Okay. They bring a team with them.
Because they've already attracted talent. They don't even have any money yet. Yeah. But they convince someone or other people that this is the next thing. He or she is Jesus and you got to follow him.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay. Moses lead him to the water.
Or Moses, right?
Part the Red Sea for him.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, you know, they're cues, mm-hmm. but you can definitely feel it, right? Like usually you're engaged, right? I'm enjoying this conversation, right? I'm leaning in, right?
Yes.
And you could be talking about a product that I've never thought about a day in my life, but I'm so intrigued, right? Either from a technological standpoint, mm-hmm. or a vision standpoint, or maybe it's something else, right? But something is pulling me in.
Gotcha.
And if you're doing that to me, then I feel like you can probably do it to others.
Okay. And I'm sure you've had the opposite effect where you've spoken to someone, you know, like, yeah, you don't feel that pull. So is there a way around that? Is there a way to teach that? Or is it just, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't?
Can't teach that. Can't teach that.
Gotcha.
You know, it's like, you remember when we were all those years ago when we were in high school, right? There were certain people that we were in high school with that people just gravitated to.
Yes, correct.
Right? And there were other people that wanted people to gravitate to them, and they tried a lot of things, and it just didn't work.
Gotcha. Yes.
Right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, so, indeed.
You know, and it happens for a lot of reasons, right? You could have, you know, someone that has just led a super compelling career, and the people in that industry want to work with and learn from that person, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can have someone that's just so charismatic that, you know, they want to be around them.
True. Right.
And, you know, attractors have an easier time of raising money too. And you mentioned when I said, what's the one thing, you know, capital was one of the answers that you gave, right? After people, you do need capital, right? Because you got to be able to pay these people, right?
True indeed.
So, yeah. You know, attractors. But this is also why it's better to have a team of founders or at least early employees. Because if there's something that, let's call it the principal, is missing, then maybe it's made up by the other 2 or 3 people that are joining him or her on this ride. Gotcha. Right? And so, like when I think about making an investment, I'm looking at primarily the team, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm looking for, as I mentioned, an attractor. I'm looking for, you know, someone on that team that can sell, right? Selling the product, selling to investors, right? Selling to potential employees, right? I'm also looking for someone on that team whose strength is essentially taking a thought and turning it into a thing, product, right? And then I'm looking for someone on that team that is somewhat technical. Someone needs to understand what's being built and to guide the builders on how to do it technically, right? And so sometimes you get lucky and you get all those 4 ingredients in one human, right? Great.
Yeah.
It's rare, right? But that's the beauty of team. We played team sports, right? Coming up, and like we know the beauty of that, right? Like you were football, I was basketball and track, right? Like the difference between the offense versus the defense. On the offense, the quarterback's role versus the lineman role, right? Versus the receivers versus the running back. Like everyone has a certain skill set, and collectively, if we get it right, it's an amazing thing.
Correct.
Right. Yes. So we also look for and that's the beauty of an attractor. They're going to come with a team.
Okay. Because I'm thinking it's like that saying: if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go, what is it? If you want to go far, go together. If you don't want to go that far, go by yourself. I forget. But it's
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, okay. So cool. So preparedness versus performance. Has there ever been a moment where someone wasn't the most polished speaker, but their preparation made you sit up and say, okay, they came to play? So I guess it's similar to the last question we just asked. So the person, because I've run into people who can't articulate themselves that well. They can't get their, they fumble for words, but there's something about them. It could be that it factor that you like, because speaking can be taught. That's one thing that you can actually prepare people for, put them a couple courses and teach them how to deliver a message that they're trying to get across. But some people, to your last point, have that it factor. So to that question, what do you say about that?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to teach anyone to do any specific thing, right? Maybe they'll learn it over time. But again, it's the beauty of teams, right? If you have, you usually find that quality in engineers, right? Where there's a lot of substance there, but they're not great at communicating out, right? Yes. Or things of that nature. So who on the team can do that? Right?
Yeah,
because you can't have the mad scientist that can't that is incapable of communicating the value of this widget that they're trying to bring to market to the masses. Like it could be the best product in the world, but if you can't communicate that, if you can't sell it,
correct,
it's not going anywhere.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So you got to pair that person with one or more people that can do that.
Okay.
Right. And it's fine for that genius to sit in the back and be a genius.
Correct.
Right. That's the thing. And by the way, that genius could be an attractor because they're so talented at what they do. Others want to work with them.
True.
Right. They're so inspired by that technical talent. Right. But that's not the person that you're going to, put in front of the cameras and, the CNBC interview or whatever you want to call it, right?
Don't put
that's not them.
Don't put the lineman, put the quarterback up there now.
Right?
I got you, yeah.
Unless it's the center. The center is typically pretty...
That is true, yeah.
Right?
Not the center. Don't put Shaq out there, Put Penny Hardaway at the mic. No, okay. I got you. So, Coach, next section, cultural insight and style, because it's professional etiquette and style. So if you've always talked about investing through the lens of culture, not sure if you've always done that, but how do you think a person's style, the way they carry themselves, can communicate cultural intelligence and awareness, especially in this current, this current, I would say not current society, this current atmosphere of DEI and things of that nature, and respecting others' cultures?
Mm-hmm. See, when we speak about culture in the context of investing for our investment framework, we're speaking about popular culture, right?
Okay.
Which is, if you go to the definition, it's literally a group of behaviors that have become social norms.
Okay.
Right? And so what we're actually looking for are big shifts that we have a philosophy or a thesis on a way to invest alongside these shifts, right? So these could be technological shifts. They could be behavioral shifts. They could be big shifts in policy, right? So as an example, everyone's talking about AI right now.
Yes, correct.
Right? Yep. That's a massive technological shift. We've been investing in AI for 10 plus years.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And now it's hit an inflection point. Okay. Because we saw a massive change, a massive technological shift that was coming.
Yes.
And we thought about ways in which that shift could affect business, could affect consumers. Okay. Right. So that's an example of what I'm talking about, but that doesn't answer your question. Your question is more.
No, I think I would say it did. This is my, I want to say ignorance, but I was thinking when I hear culture, I'm thinking along culture as we see it, whether it's, black, white, so on and so forth culture. Mm-hmm. But thank you for, educating me in terms of what you're talking about. That's the type of culture. So no, it did answer the question, I believe.
Yeah. And that type of culture is behavioral.
Correct.
Culture. Correct. Right. But I think everyone should be able to express themselves in the way that they present outwards. Right. Okay. Yes. There should be some element of you, because that's how you're going to show up as comfortable as possible. And the more comfortable you are, the more productive and successful you can become. Correct. Right. Yes. Now, there are levels to it, though. Right. Like, you can't show up at if you're a casual person, that likes to wear baggy pants and hoodies, you can't show up to a black tie event, or you shouldn't show up to a black tie event in baggy pants and a hoodie. Correct. Right. Yep. But you could find a tuxedo that speaks to who you are in some way and wear that. Right. Correct. Yeah. So correct. Yep. Yeah. But I think you have to be respectful of the environment that you're in. Yes. But still finding a way to show up as yourself and a way to show up comfortably.
Okay. I like that. All right. So consistency as character. All right. So in your experience, what daily habits separate good from the great? The people who just show up versus the ones who show up with purpose.
Consistency is really important, man. The phrase "practice makes perfect," mm-hmm. Right? I don't know that we ever get perfect at anything, but we get damn good, right? Sure. And practice is just repetition, right? So you're repeating a behavior, over and over. And if you repeat that behavior enough, it becomes second nature to you. True. So when you get thrown into the fire, you're going to do the thing that comes second nature. Correct. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to figure out how to do it. Doing what you always do.
True. So I guess do what you practice for the most part. Right. So yeah, like Kobe shooting in the gym. Yeah. Practice.
Exactly.
Practice. Exactly. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a lot
second nature.
No, definitely. And I'm thinking about that in terms of, like I said, the kids that I teach now. So now I'm actually teaching etiquette to a high school in Brooklyn, Crystal Ray High School in Brooklyn, teaching etiquette to the 9th and 10th graders. These are kids that they have a work study program, and what happens is every kid in the school from 9th through 12th grade, they go to work one day a week and they go to school the other 4. So they have relationships with over, I think it's 80, 90 companies that take one of these kids and, put them in the office environment. So just trying to teach them how to acclimate to certain environments and things of that nature. So, having them practice their elevator pitch, practice, speaking to someone, practice not saying like every 2 seconds. With these kids, they say like all the time. Everything is like. So having them speak better, than they do currently. Is some of the things that we do over at Crystal Ray. But so a lot of people walk into rooms that intimidate them, and that's one of the things that we try to cover as well. So rooms full of money, influence, and power. So how do you personally prepare for those spaces? So it's two parts. One, how do you personally prepare for those spaces, walking into rooms like that? And then what mental or physical cues help you stay grounded?
Prepares you to walk into the room. So, I mean, for a long time, I would walk into rooms and I would be one of two or three Black investors. Okay. Right. And it's still, in terms of leadership positions in venture capital, it's, maybe 1% or a little bit under 1%, in this industry.
Really, still.
So, yeah. So basically every room I walk into,
you're the only.
Doesn't necessarily, I'm not represented well there.
Okay.
Or you don't see a lot of people that look like me there. And early days that was somewhat intimidating. Right. But over time, I spend time with all of the investors, a lot of the investors in the industry. I got to know them. They got to know me. Right. And that allowed me to be more and more confident, when I walk into those rooms, because even though, the room didn't look like me, it became familiar to me.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Right. So, and it kind of goes back to what, we're talking about with, consistency, right? I consistently showed up to meet the other, investors, like in my industry, right? Gotcha. So that we could build a rapport, and that allowed me to be comfortable. The other thing is just be good at what you do, right? So, if I'm practicing my craft every day, like no one can tell me that, I'm not good at it or I don't deserve to be in a room.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
Because I'm putting in the work every day.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So you know who you are. You're confident in who you are. So having that consistency builds that confidence that you know what you're doing, and it does nothing intimidate you, because it's not like you think someone else in there knows, not saying knows more, because it's not like we know everything, but you feel comfortable enough in your skin to say, I know what I'm talking about, so you can stand on that. I believe that breeds confidence as well, knowing what you're doing, to your point.
Yeah. Okay. And I think, to go along with that, as you start to find levels of success, that the confidence grows, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And you're finding the success because you have those consistent habits, right?
Yep.
Behaviors that have turned into habits, right? Those lead to the wins, and the more wins you get, the more confident you are, the more respected you are.
True indeed. Yeah, man. All right. I'm thinking, it's funny. I'm thinking about Norm right now, working out. Like Norm, me and Norm got this challenge going. But anyway, so style has credibility, right? So you've got a very distinct sense of style. I mean, I've seen you at the culture houses. I've seen you dress, even some of the artwork that you have, right? So it's clean, intentional, and elevated. How do you see personal style influencing perception and trust in the business world?
Yeah, I think it helps you to show originality.
Okay.
And to give folks a sense of who you are, like, underneath all the stuff, right? Like I mentioned earlier, like you should find ways to show up as yourself.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what I try to do with the stuff that I wear, right? It's just like, this is who I am. This is what I'm gonna wear. It's gonna look a little bit different than, this person over here or that person over here, because it's me, right? I Jamaican born. I like nice things, Like that's just part of our culture,
Gotcha.
right? We like to get dressed, and we like to show our originality in the things that we wear. So I want to show up as me, as much as I can, as often as I can.
Yep. But would you say it's within, not fully conforming, but in a certain, for instance, I'm trying to think of the way to say this, because your style, although it's original and it's you, it's not sloppy, it's not messy, it's still clean, it's still put together. It's not like you know how you can put, everybody has on black and you come, it's similar to the point you made about you go into a black tie event and you're not wearing a hoodie and baggy pants. You find a tux that fits that model. It may not be, straight suited and booted, but it fits in, but you still stand out. Does that make sense? Or
yeah. No, I think that's right.
Because I'm like, because I've seen your style, even I think the Russell Westbrook's line. I forget the name of his line, but I remember when we in Houston, or was it Austin? You had that. I was like, okay, and then I went and I looked at the whole spell. I was like, now I got a couple pair. But anyway, but they're clean. It's like a clean look. It's not, like you walk into a place and people are like, who is that? Like you're standing so far out that you don't actually look like you belong. You still belong, and then you pair that with what you speak about, you fit right in. So, all right. So the art of timing. So in venture, timing can make or break a deal, correct? Can timing make or break a deal? Okay. So how do you know when a founder or idea is too early, right on time, or too late? And how can professionals apply the same awareness to their careers?
Yeah. So again, I think it's, what is it going to take for this thing to be successful?
Okay.
Right. And that could be, let's say Uber, Lyft, and ride sharing as an example, right? Mm-hmm. The timing was right for that. Yes. Right. More people were carrying smartphones. Right. A lot of people were frustrated about, medallion taxi services, yes. the poor service, how difficult it was to get one. Right. So there are, behavioral things that were ready that were ripe to be changed. Okay. There was, technology. I mentioned the smartphones and the proliferation of the internet and mobile apps. Yes. Right. All those things were right there. Right. Now, the thing that wasn't there was, the medallions hold on policy and law. Yep. And that was the thing that, those organizations had to fight. Yes. to get overturned or find ways around them. Correct. Right. So it's not saying that, red carpet's not always going to be rolled out for you. Yeah. Right. But the majority of the things that need to be true for this thing to be successful have to be in place. Gotcha. Okay. So now we've come to our last question. Okay. So my like I said, my brother Marlon, thank you again. I just want to say thank you again. Thank you. Trust me, I truly appreciate this and appreciate you, my brother. So legacy of leadership, right? So when people talk about you 20 or 30 years from now, because they will talk about you, you're doing some great things you've done and are doing, and will continue to do great things. So when people talk about you 20, 30 or 30 years from now, beyond the titles and investments, what do you hope they say about how you showed up? Yeah, as someone that walked the talk that he was talking, and someone that always led by example. Okay. As well as someone that clearly cares about his community, and pulled alongside him every step that he would take.
Okay. All right.
Right.
All right. My man. That's great. Profound, man. Great words. Great words. I truly appreciate that because, like I said, man, 34 years, actually. It was funny at the, 9-5 for the 9-5. We kept saying 30. I'm like, yeah, it's actually 34 because we all met freshman year. So you got to add that 4. And people know I got the gray. I don't see the gray in your beard, but I got the.
No, it's there. It's there. It's just light. It's light.
Gotcha. But yeah, man. So like I said, once again, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Episode 3. We're on right now. We're on YouTube. We're on a new app called School. So I'm going to put that link, for people to watch, like, subscribe, join us in School, join us on YouTube, join us on the Professional Etiquette and Style and on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're all over the place, and just trying to get the numbers up. But once again, thank you to Marlon. Any parting words for your audience out there?
You got to add Phil to that list of social media platforms that you guys are showing up.
Oh yeah,
on.
for right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll add Spill tonight. Trust me. I'll go in there right now and add Spill. So we're on Spill. We're gonna be on Spill tomorrow. We're gonna be on Spill tomorrow as well as the other social media platforms. And like I said, any parting words?
No, just always strive for greatness, and the way that you achieve greatness is just by consistently moving forward every day, right? Set lofty goals, but also set milestones along the way, achievable milestones.
Okay.
And the more you start to hit each milestone, the more confident you get, and the closer you get to achieving whatever that goal associated with greatness is.
All right. Great words from a great man. Once again, it's the Professional Etiquette and Style Podcast, episode 3. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate you.